let's talk about the football game. Simple. And you heard Seth say it. I mean, their job is to score 40 if we give up 39. Our job is to hold them to 13 if we score 14, we got to hold them to 13. Neither one of us did, so we failed. Okay? You heard him. I mean, 6 plays for 189 yards is the difference in the game. But those 6 plays that we put those guys in man coverage, and you heard Michael up here, like those guys, I mean, we're going to put those guys on an island. It's because of what we do and how violent we play and the demeanor and the resiliency we're going to play with. And as a corner, I mean, they're lucky they have Genesis Smith in the middle of the field because he just roams so freely and does cover so much ground. And I talked about Rocco Beck not making mistakes, and some of those balls that he threw on the deep balls were, I mean, elite as they come. And so in a corner's mindset, we play some man free, we play some don't like they're in zero coverage all the time is what we want them to be, and I expect those guys, and I have the confidence in those guys to play that, okay? But those 6 plays that led to 189 yards, a couple of them didn't even have to happen if we do our job the way we're trained to do it. And I mentioned last week Coach Campbell and the 11 years of building that program and how they do everything methodically, and they played in these environments. And I think there's a significant difference between just practicing, because there's a lot of sports that you can just practice and get better at something. But I think in elite sports, an elite team sport, much like football or Ironman runners, you have to train a certain way different than practice. Like you train to be dominant, you train to be violent, you train to be elite in those moments, okay? And I think in the big moments of that game, you've got the wideout, you've got 60,000 people. It was an awesome experience. I think there's value in saying you have to learn how to win, because I think you do. Do I think if you look statistically at that game and you watch and people on Coach Shear's board and on the Twitter world and all those things, they can be like, what's he talking about? Go back and watch the game on YouTube. It's on there. I've never been a part of a game that up front you can physically not get bullied around and almost be dominant, and yet in the skill aspect of the game gets spread out that wide, okay? Because think about this now. They run the ball they are very good at what they do and efficient. And up until the last drive when they put the backup quarterback in, at that point they have 77 yards rushing on 40 attempts. That's 1.9 yards per carry. Now, I talked about them being on third down. You have to be elite on third down because they're really good, okay? On third and short, which they should have the advantage, it was 2 for 4, which is disappointing, okay? On third and 1, they were actually 1 for 3. And then the 3rd and 3, they got on the speed option, okay? And the middle downs, the championship downs, once again, they were 2 for 4. And we had an opportunity on 3rd and 5 to make it 1 for 4, and you win that battle at 1 for 4. You win the battle at 1 for 4 on the first down. And then on 3rd and long, they were 2 for 5. So they were 6 of 13, and they were elite on 4th down, okay? So when I talked about earlier the 6 plays for 189 yards, on the first series, we have them in a 3rd and 3, and we have a linebacker that for the first time all season, we break down on a tackle. And so instead of going and gutting them like we do the bags, we miss the tackle and they execute and they get a 3rd and 3, turns into a first down. On that same drive, 3 plays later, we have them in a 3rd and 5, they throw the ball into a flat, and a linebacker that has not broken down all year breaks down instead of gutting him and getting off the field. So if we make either one of those plays, and that goes back to training, okay? If you do it like you train every single day, this stuff works. When you worry about being perfect and not wanting to make mistakes, I mean, most of the time in human success and human failure, you have to fail to succeed, okay? Well, there's 2 failures right there that if he does it the way he's trained, he probably makes the play. He might not, but he'll have a lot better chance. And then all of a sudden, guess what? Aiden Garnes doesn't get the ball thrown on that deep ball where his hand is on it. I mean, Beck threw a dime on that ball on the first touchdown because his hand's on it, and they've got good players too. Everybody we play, Chase Sewell, who had not been on the radar, and I listened to Coach Campbell's post-game press conference because I think those things are interesting, and he talked about Chase Sewell got hurt in fall camp, and they finally got him back because he was a really good player for East Carolina, and he showed up. And he on 2 50-50 balls, he made them, we didn't. So give him credit. I mean, Rocco threw a dime, and then he gets it. The second one, the first 3rd and 1 of the game on the second series, we stop them, and they have to punt. And then we have the 2 penalties on the punt, and then so they get the ball to 38, and then the PI 2 plays later, and they're able to score the second touchdown where we had an opportunity. We can't. I mean, We get the ball 38-yard line, we have to hold them to a field goal attempt right there. Okay, on the very first touchdown, the swinging gate, different than last year against Tech. Okay, and I'm going to take all the blame in the world. I was anticipating something like that in the swinging gate aspect. I mean, we practiced a ton of different formations, various formations like that for the opportunity because with a true freshman kicker, who's your third kicker, I figured they would do something. Either they would go for a 2-point package or they would do something like that on the first or second touchdown just to keep him some ease. And we lined up to it right. We don't get dominant contact on one end, but there's sometimes you do things on the chalkboard that win on paper and lose on the field. Well, one of those things, the way we tried to defend the ball getting out there, that's on me. Told Dom Alessio to run up there. Probably not realistic because of the tight formation as opposed to a wide formation. So we were prepared for it. They out-executed us on that in that moment, so it's 8-0. Okay? And then we get the second touchdown, we make them punt, and then the second one on the 3rd and 8. The next one, probably the most disappointing, the 4th series, we have them backed up 3rd and 11 on the 10-yard line. And that's the difference in a momentum game when you're down 15-0 right now, okay, because of the short field. Where you get them in a 3rd and 11 and they throw another dime on the sideline. Probably the pass rush, it had nothing to do with pass rush. We had elite pass rush. It was catch throw for a fade ball. Chase Sewell goes up and makes a play, and Genesis from the middle of the field to the outside of the sideline is a step late. So once again, they have a good player that made a good play. Now we stop them 3 plays later and we make them punt, but punting from the 11-yard line or punting with your punter standing on the goal line as opposed to that 32-yard gain is the difference in field position of probably 70 yards. And our offense, so because their next drive after the interception that Coach Dave was talking about, they started at the 30-yard line and get a touchdown off of if you would have told me going into the game that they were going to average 2.4 yards per carry and their tight ends were going to have 4 total catches for 29 yards, I would have said that probably was the right score, the other way around, which is really frustrating. Okay, so we didn't make that play, and then the one that they on that after the interception, so they get the ball on the 30-yard line, and they throw a big play to the touchdown to the 27-yard to the tight end on a nub formation side. Thought that ball was going to be intercepted. They made a play we didn't. We threw a dime to Bramer, and they made a play we didn't. I mean that's the live and die between being elite and not being elite. Now they almost made a huge mistake at the end of the half, because they were trying to steal some points, and you never relax. And the way they slid the protection, they left Malachi Bailey free off the edge. Good thing. And now that there's another point right there between details of being elite and being good, because I think we're pretty good, but we're not elite yet. If he takes the right angle to the upfield shoulder, it's probably a sack fumble and their mistake. Or if Stooks is one step sooner, he probably intercepts it, and now we have a chance for the offense to score, because we had just scored to make it 22-7 to have a chance to win the middle 8. And if we get a sack fumble right there, go ahead and watch it on YouTube. The very last play, the second to last play before they took a knee of the first half, they're trying to steal one, which is not smart. It's really good, actually, if they think they have something that they can steal on us. But it should have been a sack fumble if we execute it right. So we come out, so we go into halftime. It's 22-7. We do have a little momentum because we went down on the middle 8. We scored. And the big thing about basketball runs, whether if we have a chance right there to kick a field goal or score a touchdown with a sack fumble and make it 22-14, but it's 22-7, okay. Now you got to go out there and be elite on the stop of the first series of the second half, because we're going to be up on defense first. And it didn't go that way. They go boot on the very first play, which was one of their 4 catches by the tight end. Second play, they run the ball for 3 yards, get a first down. And then the third play of the second half, once again, goes against your training. Once again, you have to fail before you succeed. They throw a slant route to number 3 where Genesis is right there and misses the tackle, and everybody's going to say that's Genesis' fault. Not his fault. We take those guys and tell them to launch all the time. But there's a guy at the corner that's starting to take an angle to it, but it's not how we train. It's trained full speed. Everything you do is full speed until the whistle's blown. That way you get an opportunity to gut somebody. You get an opportunity to punch the ball out if it's there. So if that guy's going full speed, he makes a tackle right there on the 40-yard line. The guy that made the tackle, because he accelerated late, now it's on the 10-yard line. So if you do it the way you train, that's a 10-yard gain as opposed to a 52-yard gain. Okay, now they get the ball down there, and once again, they get the ball inside the 5-yard line, and it takes them 4 plays to get 5 yards. They get 3rd and 1 on the goal line. They get a half a yard, and then they have to go for it on 4th down, and they put it in. Okay, I mean that's not physically in your tail whoop. We weren't able to stop in the 4th and 1, so they won the moment. Okay, now the next series we get the ball, and now we're down 29-7. Offense goes for it on 4th down. We give them the ball at the 44. We got to be able to stop them right there. And I'm all for it, and Brent's here. I'm like, no, go for it. We got to get back in this thing, 29-14. We're not doing our part. Let's let Seth go. If we have to score 40, then we score 40. And then they come with the disappointing one was the trick play where they handed off fly sweep to the tight end, and we bite. Now, we're aggressive on run, and we're going to solid stop the run, but a fly sweep to a tight end is not going to beat us. So we bite on that, and they throw it over the top for 45 yards, and once again, it takes them 3 plays to get in the end zone from the 5-yard line. That was really disappointing. Okay, so now you score those 2 touchdowns, and now is the game essentially out of hand? Maybe. But I'll tell you what, our team fought their tail off for the next, because now you go punt, interception, punt, and then they get the last 35 yards on the last series. We haven't learned how to win that kind of game yet, which was really disappointing. And obviously we did not play good, because when you give up 39 points, you stink. I mean, that's my vision. There's moments in there to eliminate those to give yourself a chance to win. And if you go back to the greatest team in Arizona history, in my opinion, and the 99 guys will argue with that, but the 1993 team, who was 7-0 going into the UCLA game, everybody's excited as heck. They're ranked 7th in the country at the moment. And in the third quarter, the score's 30-0 UCLA. And UCLA ends up with over 400 yards total offense, okay, against the number 6 defense in the country that ended up number 2 in the country. But what they do the next week, they responded. And I think, and am I comparing this team to a team that was ranked 7th in the country? I'm not. Do we have enough talent to compete in the rest of these games and have a chance to win all of them? We do. And like Coach Daggy said, like details, I mean, that doesn't mean you're coaching them any better than you were, but we're harping on them, and it's always easier to succeed when you failed. So now the point of the emphasis, like, we did this wrong, we got away with it the first 3 weeks. You don't get away with it when you're playing against a team that's perennial a championship team. And so, yeah, I mean, be more detailed on those things. Am I disappointed? Absolutely. We gave up 39 freaking points. Okay, I think we're pretty good on defense. We're not elite yet. We can be elite if we train and we play the way we train. We'll be elite. So we'll go from there. But watch the game. We didn't get bullied around by the bully of this league. We just didn't execute in the key moments and big plays. If you're going to give up big plays, you're going to lose on both sides of the ball, and we did.
Thank you, Coach. We'll start with Troy and then Justin.
You kind of mentioned it, the explosive plays. I think it was about 6 of them.
6 for 189 yards.
Would you account for most of that just 50-50 balls that you got to win, or fundamentals of leading up to that point?
The 3 biggest ones, the 43-yarder on the first one with him and AG is great coverage. Their guy jumped up, made a ball. He had his hand on the ball, and he was able to make, I mean, those are the 50-50 balls in the first 2 weeks we made. We didn't make that one. The one on the 3rd and 11, the 32-yard gain to Sewell on our sideline, that one's frustrating because Jen's covering a lot of ground. We lose leverage if we keep the leverage that we're supposed to keep. That ball's probably intercepted. But once again, give Chase Sewell credit. Dude made a play. I mean, they got good players too, and he made play. The 52-yarder goes against your training. If you're going full speed, it's a 10-yard gain, not 50. And that's a learned thing. It's a muscle memory thing. We do it every single day. The way I don't know if you guys that are out there and the way you watch us chase the ball on 7-on-7. Like, we go one play roll, and they have to sprint 40 yards every single time. If that ball's on the ground, we pick it up like it's a fumble if it's an incomplete pass. Like, that's training. And so is it instilled 100% yet? Obviously not. So we're going to keep training it. Now, that takes time, because human nature is when something's not your way or something's away from you, especially in this game. And watch everybody's tape. I do. I'm very picky and particular on this stuff. And I call our guys out all the time in our room, because if it's lazy, it's not acceptable. And then it shows up on game day. I can promise you, the 2 that we've had to call out, it won't happen again. And then we made a big emphasis today. And we can track them with all those GPS things and tell you how fast they run. Michael Dansby hit 22.5 miles an hour in that football game in shoulder pads and full pads. Okay, that's pretty damn fast. If you do that all the time, you eliminate big plays. So those are they scheme? It had nothing to do with pass rush, because that ball is catch throw. They're throwing fade routes, and we've got to make more plays on 50-50 balls than the opponent if we're going to be elite on defense. And they got the better athletes on Saturday night.
Justin and Brian.
We finally got to see Riley Wilson in action. What did you make of how he played and what he can bring moving forward?
Coming out of spring, Riley was one of our best linebackers. And then we've had some stuff that he missed some time during fall camp. He's back and is running around. So the amount of practice time that you miss, and I think football is the one game that does not matter how elite you are, unless you're an elite Tom Brady-ish. Like, you can't cheat football and not practice and play well and execute, especially if you've got some adjustments week to week in the positions that he plays. So limited practice time has kind of limited his reps He gained more practice last week, so he's able to play more. He'll gain more this week and keep evolving and hopefully be a full-time player. Because when he's out there, he's dynamic, he's physical, he's violent. He had 2 sacks on Saturday night. Both of them were, I want those to be sack fumbles, not just sacks. Because Rocco Beck on the first one didn't even see him coming. We did a nice job with the way we disguised the coverage. He went to throw another deep ball and couldn't because we went over the top of it. And when he pulled it back, bam, all of a sudden Riley's right there in his face. So that will continue to grow as the more he practice reps he gets, his package. But you know what? When you put a kid that hasn't practiced a ton out there, you're doing them a disservice, because if they make mistakes, that's on you and not on them. So he's going to be a vital part of us having a chance to grow to be elite.
And then what do you make of Genesis Smith and what he's been able to do off the field in addition to on the field?
Genesis Smith is one of the greatest human beings that I've ever been around, and he's only 1 years old. Okay, when I was in New Mexico, we had a young man by the name of Teton Saltis who won the All-State Good Hands award, and Teton is a Native American from the South Dakota Indian tribe, was an amazing person. Genesis Smith, for what he's doing for, one, the community of Tucson. I mean, in 2024, he puts on a thing called Cats Christmas, where he gets people to, and he fundraises so that 12 families, both here in Phoenix and in Tucson, have an opportunity to wake up Christmas morning to Santa Claus gifts, or Christmas gifts, and for families to celebrate where kids otherwise would not have had Christmas. And he was able to do that for 12 families. And in the process right now, in 2025, he's organizing a gala, or gala, however you say it. I think it's gala, but I'll get criticized for that. To fundraise to have a bigger Cats Christmas for 2025. Okay, and he got teammates and coaches and friends and everybody to buy Amazon gifts and send them in, and then they wrap them and he goes and delivers them. And it was hundreds of gifts that TaBrook Blaine has helped him organize, okay, and then set this up. And on top of that now, he's involved. He's got 4 younger brothers that if you didn't know better, you would think they live here with him, because they're always over here at 9:00 p.m. running routes and doing stuff in the gym, which is in the indoor, which is unbelievable. And then he started a youth camp over at Doolin Middle School called Rise, Resilient, Inspired, Strengthened, Empowered, and donates his time so that he can be around 10, 11, 12, 13-year-olds and do football and do basketball, do kickball, and take his teammates over there and volunteer their time, because I think the NFL is doing a great job of trying to create NFL 60 and kids play, because kids, all they want to do is get on video games and do those things. And he wants them to be outside. He's the CEO of our team, the chief energy officer, and he's that same way with kids. And so he was raised in a family, and his grandma was a huge part, and mom and dad, of servant leadership. And he has servant leadership on our team. That's why everybody loves the young man. So, I mean, I could go on for all of our time on Genesis Smith. I won't. But I love him, one, as a human being, as a person, as a football player, as a captain. Like, his faith is super strong. And when he leads the prayer, I mean, everything he does is elite. And so when people say, well, if Genesis Smith would have played better, he had one of his worst games. Well, guess what? I allow Genesis Smith to go gut those guys in half and take those shots. So the other guys need to train to make up for it if he does miss. So, I mean, I cannot say enough positive and amazing things about what Genesis Smith, and how lucky the 520 is to have him here, and how lucky Phoenix is, and all those things, and what TaBrook has done with Beyond Football to help Jen organize that, and then give Jen all the credit in the world, because he gives all his free time up to do these things. So that's an amazing question, so thank you.
Brian and then Michael.
When you look at what Oklahoma State's going to do in this game,
Sure.
because they have changes in their lineup. I know that Meacham was the offensive coordinator, I was running, but did you see big changes in this first game that they did, or was it just trying some different stuff?
I think Coach Meacham's an excellent football coach, and his track record speaks volumes for what he's been able to do. I would imagine, and I don't know this, I would imagine he would like to be the head coach there. And so if you can be really good on offense and exciting, because points sell, and guys love offensive coaches, and I picked the wrong side of the ball, I guess, because that's the most exciting part of football. I mean, sell tickets, change the rules so that they can score more points. What he's doing is very dynamic, especially in the Baylor game. I mean, you got Jackson, number 18, who was a quarterback out of high school and then played quarterback at TCU. I mean, he can roll out. Watch the second play of the Kansas game from 21 against Oklahoma State game against in 21 against from TCU. He's rolling out to his right, and launches the ball 55 yards like it's nothing. So he's got a dynamic piece back there, so they'll have two quarterbacks on the field. They'll do some sprint out, roll out stuff, and they'll throw two. I mean, it's very innovative. It's very creative. They did some double pass. They did some reverses and all those things. Give him a ton of credit because those kids are playing really hard. Now, I think what you really want to give credit to is the ones that are playing, and you haven't seen a mass exodus into the portal from Oklahoma State, which those guys have played 4 games, so if they're going to, now would be it, okay? That means that what Meacham is telling them and how he's doing it, they believe in him. And don't ever forget, too, that these kids train, just like we talked about, 43 to 52 weeks a year for the 12 opportunities. So they still have opportunities, and now they're playing with, like, this is fun. What the hell is this? I mean, we got reverse throwback, all that stuff. So give him credit because he's doing a great job with the message, and they're gonna create some challenges on Saturday. Now it goes back to our training. If we train and not practice, then you can overcome that. They're going to be a damn excited football team to play. He's done a great job. So give Coach Meacham a lot of credit in that respect. Got a great respect for him, what he's done offensively too.
You'd said a lot of times during the spring and even in the summer that like if you guys can play man consistently, then it's going to do good things. And this was a game where the man had some breakdowns. Does it cause you to reevaluate?
No.
Or is that still what you're sticking to?
No, and it's interesting. In our room, in our defensive room, and I'll never do it publicly, but in our defensive room, I got no problem blaming guys. When it's the 40 guys that are in there, blaming them to each other, because they all hold each other to a really high standard. And we got 4 corners that I think are elite in this league. And the message was, yeah, you got to make plays on 50-50 balls. You don't have to make every single one, but if he makes 2 of them, the game's different. If he makes all 3, game's completely different. If he makes 1 of the 3, game's different. And then you make that 1 of the 3, all of a sudden you have a lot more momentum. Momentum is like a 4th down stop. We didn't get 4th down stops on Saturday. It didn't change the momentum. They did. Okay? So if you don't have good enough players to do it, then you have to change what you're doing. We have good enough players. You heard Michael. Put me on an island, coach. That was their answer. And you can tell when they come to the sideline, if they're shell-shocked, you better play zone because you're going to get your tail whooped. They weren't ever shell-shocked. They were like, I got you. I'll make the next play. And so I got all the confidence in the world in those guys. And guess what? When we can play man coverage, they get 1.9 yards per carry on 40 carries. We got to make the play on the 50-50 ball so that we can be elite.
We'll finish up with Michael and Jason.
Yeah, I have a handful, and they're all kind of follow-ups.
Go one at a time, and we'll come through them.
So you're talking about in the slant pass, like if the corner's supposed to do something different?
All 11 guys are supposed to do something different. So here's your formation. The number 2 is the one that runs the slant. Okay? Number 1 runs underneath number out, so the corner's squeezing. Okay? The number 3 who's coming across, and then Jen, so we got a linebacker pushed inside the slant of 2. We got the down safety pushing inside the slant of 1, because it was all 3. And then our free safety can cut the slant of 2 on this particular play. Jen cuts it, and as he's taking his angle, he takes 1 bad step, but he didn't break down, and the guy has to cut inside of him. The corner that's squeezing over the top of 1 is squeezing, but not the way he's trained. So he's 2 steps late from making a tackle for a 10-yard gain as opposed to having to chase that thing down to the 10-yard line. So as soon as that ball is thrown, all 11 of those dudes on defense, whether it's in the front, it's why we've been so good at eliminating screens, or you're in the secondary, that ball's thrown, you're going as fast as you can until that thing's dead. Because if Genesis trips him up, Michael guts him from behind, it's possibly a fumble. Or AG guts him from behind, it's possibly a fumble. But if not, and Jen trips him up, now it's just 4 more yards as opposed to being down right there. When they throw a screen, you see Tia and you see Deshaun, you see those guys. As soon as the quarterback throws the ball, bam. If it's 90 yards, or if he's throwing the ball 60 yards down the field, those guys will turn and run and they'll sprint. And then after about 5 or 6 steps, they'll stop sprinting because they're not going to make a play on 60 yards down the ball. But they better be on a good jog so that they get lined up if they go tempo, if they catch a 40-yard pass. But if they throw the ball on the shoulders down, which we read the DBs to read, and now they run a screen and the guys come, that's why they're screen killers. Because they turn and they got a 300-pound guy sprinting full speed immediately, he guts you. So it's training. And you have to do different drills in that because they don't naturally want to do it. 300-pound guys don't want to freaking turn and sprint every single time the ball's thrown. Corners should, safety should, linebacker should. So if he takes the right angle full speed, it's a 10-yard gain.
Second one, you did not name names on the 2 third down plays with Hansen. kind of near the sideline, but it was Tay Brown.
Okay.
He was the one who's there. What would you like to see him do differently?
Don't break down. Don't break down. Your training's not to break down. If you watch pregame, we got those 4 big bags. And we move those bags around and we run and we take different angles and make them change direction to hit the bag because some of those bags can move, some of them can't. And when we move the bags on a swing route out there, they run full speed coming downhill and gut the bag. Well, if you watch Tay and on this play, I think, and this is big moments learning how to win. He wants to be perfect. So I don't blame him for wanting to be perfect, but that's not how you're trained. So if he just runs through that thing and he doesn't slow down, if you watch him go back and watch the tape, he stuttered his tape. And at this level, the athletes are too elite. If you stuttered, they're going to make you miss. And so if he just guts him, it's 3rd and 4, we get off the field, they never get the ball to AG. Or they never throw the ball to Marquise on the 3rd and 11. If they do those things. On the next one, 3rd and 5, wide space, same thing. Just go throw your body. And if you miss, no big deal. He has to cut back inside where we have guys coming. But if you don't miss and he's able to maintain his momentum off his stutter down the sideline, he gets, on 3rd and 3, he gets 6. On 3rd and 5, he gets 7. So training, goes back to training. And so Tay Brown knows that. He was the first one. And the great part about it is those guys are coming out the field telling, don't break down, don't break down. I'm hearing them tell each other. So the message is there. We got to continue to train so that it's muscle memory.
Yeah, the last one, you mentioned Sam Jackson. He started his career at TCU, and then he was at Cal.
Go back to high school. Permitted to Purdue.
What do you make of the journey that some of these players takes these days?
Well, if the comfortability for him is the guy that recruited him at TCU is the interim head coach at Oklahoma State. So there's some comfortability there on where he ended up. Do I like that aspect of it? For the kids, I don't. Because the best time of your life and your best friends you make is in college. Whether you play football or whether you just go to college or whether you're in a fraternity or whatever. Like that time of your life, 18 to 23, is the most impressionable time. Because one, your ubungata and all that stuff is still developing, especially for men who are idiots at that time, okay? And then, yeah, that was straight out of the movie. So there we go. There's your quote. There's your tweet, okay? So that stuff is still developing. So they think they're invincible, and they're not. But you don't form those relationships over 4 years and have them for the rest of your life. Like, who's he going to say he played for? He probably fell back on Oklahoma State, but he's got tape from TCU. He went to Auburn. We got one on our team. I love Max Harris. And his leadership, he's been voted on the leadership council around here and all those things, and he's a freaking fantastic dude. But he's been at 4 places. Now, he's going to have lifelong friends here because of who he is. But if you're not an outgoing personality, it's going to change that for you. So I really feel bad for that aspect of the kids. Now, the opportunity to play and move around, all that stuff, if you think that's better for you, then I'm all for it. I'm gonna trust a kid's opinion. But it breaks my heart for him because some of my best friends are guys that I played with and went to college with in that 5-year period. So.
Finish up with Jason.
Riley played more snaps than Myron, got in there for a snap. Do you foresee the linebacker rotation expanding, or is it simply trying to get more guys?
In Myron's rep, see how close you paid attention, Coach. On Myron's rep, do you know what the personnel was on the field? 5 linebackers, 1 D lineman, 5 safety, 5 DBs. We've got 5 linebackers that can play. Can they play every down? No, because if you put 12 and 13 personnel in there, they probably outpower us. But that was 11 personnel. We got a sack out of it. We can do some things athletically with those guys, and we've got the ability. You've got 2 linebackers, or 2 D linemen, 4 linebackers, 1 D lineman, 5 linebackers. We had 2 series out there where we had 5 D linemen, 4 DBs. So, and I said this back in the spring when you guys said, what are you going to be? I said, we're going to be everything. Well, I've lived to it because we have enough talent in certain things. And if you have smart football players that conceptually can do things, you can do a bunch of packages and you don't have to call things differently. And we've been able to manufacture that. They've done a great job with substitution. They've done a great job with understanding conceptually what the calls are. And if you go back to the Hawaii game, I talked about we called the defense against a 2-back personnel formation on 3rd and 2 that we didn't execute because conceptually we hadn't practiced it since spring ball, and they didn't get it. Guess what? This is probably stupid coaching, by the way. We had not practiced it since Hawaii, but we called it in the Iowa State game on a 3rd and 3 and stopped them. Because the concepts are, they're understanding that. So you will see more of Myron and Riley and Chase and Tay and Max on the field at the same time and separate from each other. You've got an opportunity. We've done some where we go 3D linemen, 3 linebackers, 5 DBs. We don't have a dollar and we don't have a dime because our 5 DBs are elite and we can get a lot of those coverage pieces that they did with the dime stuff and the dollar stuff in 23 with our linebackers. They're good as good a cover pieces as those. And then our depth probably isn't as great. In the secondary behind me, you've got essentially, you got 4 starters at corner. You've got 4 starters at safety, if you include Gavin in that group. And then Coleman Patlin would be the next one that comes up in the secondary. So not quite as deep, but you got so many linebackers that can do different things. They can play on the ball, they can play off the ball, they can play in coverage, they can play in space. So how can you give them just enough that creates variety for the other opponent without screwing them up? That's the best thing. So yeah, I'm a little disappointed that you didn't notice there was 5 linebackers and 1 D lineman. Nobody did, huh? Go back. Hey, once again, go back and watch the tape. And I say that because I want them to know there was 5 linebackers on the field. I mean, we're not trying to hide it. It's out there. But come on, Coach Shear. Well, and how was the opening statement? What were we at? Like 9 minutes? Yeah, I cut it down. And look, we got women's basketball in 3 minutes. So Coach Burke is doing a phenomenal job in the community. She's doing a phenomenal job. Did you see her triathlon against the swimming team? I mean, she only lost to the one that friggin' can't lose to anybody, which is amazing. What's her name? I apologize. I should know her name. Our best triathlete. Yes, Kelly Wetland, who also went to New Mexico. Like, so we have that in common. So maybe I'm a badass like her because of where we went to school. That's maybe where her grow up came from. But she's freaking unbelievable, by the way. And Coach Burke was second to her. So I'm really excited. I mean, Coach Burke had to build this basketball team from nothing and getting 4-star and all those things. She is a elite competitor. So you guys got a minute and a half to get over there to McHale. So chop on the hop, huh? And then let's get after it. Now, before you leave, because I'm going to cut into your time, so you have to sprint. We practice all fall camp for what? 10 to 12 every day. 100-degree weather. I am praying it is 100 degrees on Saturday. It's supposed to be 91. Now, the Tucson community is like, no. Hey, continue to believe in this football team. I referenced the 93 team. Start 7-0, got lost, and then got back on track. Let's get back on track this weekend against Oklahoma State. They're going to come in, present a great challenge. But let's have 55,000 crazies in there. I'm talking about Chris Brendan. I know the zoo's going to show up. And guess what? Get a big old freaking, it's Hispanic Heritage Day, so wear a sombrero. Enjoy it. Get the sun off yourself. And what an awesome opportunity for this Hispanic Heritage Day. You heard Sam talk about it. I mean, I'm half Hispanic. My dad didn't even speak English until he got into Catholic school, and they beat him out of it. So I'm super excited. We live in a freaking fabulous place that really represents the Hispanic culture. So Hispanic Heritage Day, freaking come out and celebrate. Let's go together and get another one. Bear down.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.